Can we just talk about the Sony ZV-1 for a second? Like, I have been mostly impressed with this camera. I do have a couple beats with it though. I'm using it right now to record this quick little vlog. Kind of doing more testing. It's not bad. It is not bad, but I do have some beefs with it. This camera, super small, portable, throw it in my pocket, throw it in my bag. I can use it to record behind the scenes, but Sony has a tendency of making their menu systems really complicated. At least that's from my experience from all the previous Sony cameras that I have owned. Don't know how the newer systems are. I know the ZV-1 came out quite a while ago. I don't exactly remember the date. Like always, I'll probably put it right there. But it does have one of the older, menu systems, which is very confusing. You don't really know what options to select if you're trying to tweak certain settings. I had a hard time trying to figure out where to go for the profile picture, or the picture profile, or whatever. If you don't know what the profile pictures are in the Sony ecosystem, they're very similar to the Fujifilm, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What is it called? I use them all the time. Film simulations. There we go. They're very similar to the film simulations, but you can tweak them a little bit better, a little bit more, and they're not bad. I have messed around with them quite a bit, but it took me a while to figure out where they actually were. Oh, I need to do my hair. Hold on. Better. I really need a haircut, but it's way too cold and I am not walking out there with like a shaved head. So this is what I have to do. Coming from a Fujifilm background, primarily that's my main go-to camera. It's a bit of a challenge adapting to a new ecosystem. I say new ecosystem, but really I've tried the Sony system before, and this is just a quick point-and-shoot camera. It's not bad, by no means. It just, the adjustment, even though I am a little familiar with the Sony world, I still struggle with it. I don't know why. Aside from the menu systems, overall this camera performs really well. Autofocus, great. As you can see, like it's doing a really good job with, boom. Yeah, really fast, really snappy. I like that. For street photography, this camera makes sense because it is small. You can just throw it in your pocket, which I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna throw it in my jacket pocket, and you can just walk around and take photos. Like it's perfect, it's discreet, it's it's got a zoom on it, which is really nice. I don't think I'm gonna print any of the photos that I create with this camera, mostly because it is a smaller sensor. If I ever wanted to, I feel like I would be able to print at least a couple of photos on here. But for fun, this is not half bad of a camera. Vlogging with this thing is a little annoying, I will say that. I just realized that I was shooting in S-Log3, which I was originally to kind of test the camera, but I didn't like how the video that I was shooting in recorded. I'm not really good when it comes to grading S-Log for whatever reason. Fuji, Panasonic, their log profiles, perfect. Sony, for whatever reason, I struggle with it. So I thought I'd change it to the Cine profile to make the whole process a little bit easier, a little bit more streamlined, but I forgot to press a button to lock that profile in, so it just reverted back to S-Log3. I don't love that, but that's more of a me problem than anything. What's not a me problem, well, I mean, it is because it affects me, but what's not really a me problem is that this camera, even though it's so much fun to shoot with, I do not like the fact that the battery drains so incredibly fast. Like, I put in a battery when I started this whole vlog about an hour ago. Granted, I have been using it pretty heavy, trying to set up a couple of different shots, but that battery's gone. Yesterday I did a whole cinematic test footage for it with the S-Log3. One battery was gone fairly fast. I don't really remember how long it lasted. I'm gonna pretty much use this as a test. Let's see, what time is it right now? It is... Aha! 7:15. I'm just gonna keep recording and going to work to see how long it lasts. But I will say it's not gonna be very long. Yeah, that makes it very difficult, especially if you're trying to do some like behind the scenes stuff, or you want to vlog for long periods of time. You need multiple batteries with this camera. And if you don't mind carrying multiple batteries, then by all means, it's a good camera for you. But if you do mind, it's not a good camera for you. I bought this case on Amazon a while back when I got this camera. I don't remember the brand, but it does tell you how much charge is left on the batteries. From what I can tell, it doesn't actually charge your batteries when you're walking around. You do have to plug it in USB-C, but it does give you an indicator of where they're at. It holds up to 3. I currently have 4. Yeah. If you don't mind carrying stuff like this, by all means, it's a good camera. So no, I don't really mind having to carry extra batteries. Like, I do it pretty regularly for all my other camera systems. And the fact that these ones are pretty small, I don't mind having extra in my pocket really. But the one thing that I do mind is the fact that if I'm in the zone recording something, or if I'm using this to set for a behind the scenes shoot type of thing, and I can't always monitor the battery level, especially for BTS, and that is kind of annoying, you know. You're just like, you're recording, you're in the zone, and you get that little indicator at the top right corner if you pay attention to that, and all of a sudden the battery dies and you have no clue, because if you're doing behind the scenes, you're not aware of your battery level because you're too busy trying to take pictures or video on your main camera that you are focusing on. That is kind of annoying. Another feature that I really enjoy with this camera is that it has a built-in ND filter, which is huge. Being able to just press a button, which I have it mapped to one of the tops, when, you know, vlogging outside is really, really nice. Especially because I don't really like to adjust my shutter speed. You're not supposed to adjust your shutter speed, you know, when you're creating videos. It's supposed to be double your frame rate, which, you know, shooting 24 frames per second, I shoot at 1/50th. Not having an ND filter on a camera when you're shooting outdoors is complicated. You know, it's not great unless you crank up the aperture, but that's not always the best option. I have had a couple of smaller cameras that don't have ND filters, and it made recording very difficult. Or if I was using one of my Fujifilm cameras like the X-T4 and I had my vlogging lens, but I forgot to grab the ND filter on that, it was not enjoyable. I made it work, obviously, but I struggled. I struggled, especially in the sun. This, having that ability, just again, pop, turns on, everything else is set to auto except for the shutter speed, because shutter speed priority. It's great. I really do like that. So, final thoughts on the ZV-1. I have to say I am impressed. I'm not happy with the S-Log features, but that's just personal preference because I don't really know how to grade S-Log. You know, it's very difficult compared to, you know, the Panasonic and the Fujifilm log format. But will I learn it? I don't know. I just mostly need this camera just for vlogging and behind the scenes. I just need to be able to set it and forget it, not have to worry about what it looks like. So I guess my main thing going forward with the ZV-1 is really just tweaking the settings so that I can get the perfect shot in camera. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So if you're looking for a street photography camera that is pretty well rounded and you don't mind carrying a bunch of batteries with you, I highly recommend this guy. The audio is a little bit weird, but that's because you are using the native mic that is built inside the camera itself, but it's not that bad. I mean, if you're using it mostly just for vlogging, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're using it for something more cinematic, there's other options out there. I have zero desire of doing a whole lot of cinematic shots or anything super artsy, like slow-mo. It does have the ability to do slow motion, I think up to 120 frames per second. Don't quote me on that. I very, very rarely go past 60 frames per second myself. But if that's something that you're interested in, look it up, see if that meets your needs, and if it doesn't, there's other options. But if you're like me and it doesn't really matter, this is a good camera, especially for the price. Especially for the price, like you cannot beat it. Like I found this online for less than 600 bucks. If you can find that at your local camera shop or online as well for around that price, definitely pick it up. I think it actually might be even cheaper than 600 bucks. I paid 600 mostly because it came with a case, a couple of batteries, and one of those tripods that, like the Sony tripod that has a remote on it, so I can just press record. I don't know where it's at currently, but I will find it. I did really like that because it was also pretty handy. You know, it was easy to use. But definitely, if you're looking for a pretty decent, you know, all-purpose vlogging camera, like just an everyday carry or whatever, pick this guy up. You won't regret it. Alright everyone, I'm going to go ahead and I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Like always, love, peace, hair grease. Stay greasy everybody, and stay creating.